Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about The Expanse, Season 3, Episode 7. It's called Delta 5. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. So, this show does not care when seasons start and seasons end, because if you had not told me what episode this was, I would assume this was the first episode of a season.
I would too, and I think we said this last season as well.
We did.
Episode 6 last season.
This one feels even more so though, because time's passed between the last episode.
You get a bit of a time. I was like, because it's from context, it's clear pretty quickly, and I was like, did I blink and miss a caption of how long had passed?
Yeah,
then it smartly comes up in dialogue a bit later.
It does. It works really well, and these are not complaints. I want to make that clear. It's just really, it's just strange. Yeah, it's just different from what I'm used to with TV shows. But this is clearly the start of the next book. Like it feels that way.
This is about 6 months later, give or take.
Because we have, Naomi's now on the mammoth. Was it the mammoth? The behemoth. We totally did not pause and look that up. So she's on the Behemoth, which used to be the Novu, and Drummer's the captain, which is cool. I feel like Drummer's getting a bigger role from now on. It feels that way.
Yeah, it is. Naomi's got an accent.
Do you know what I thought was funny about that? Is I feel like it's subtle enough that it feels like because she's been with other people, she's been like downplaying her belter accent, but now she's with other belters,
That was the thing. I wasn't sure if she was just kind of putting it on a bit to fit in, like to make everyone around her comfortable. So no, I'm one of you, or if she's just been around them long enough that it's kind of brought it back out of her.
Yeah, it's kind of like how if you lose your accent a little bit, but you go back to your place of origin.
It
other
comes
people,
back out, yeah,
other people speaking that way just makes you come back out with it again. So it works. It doesn't feel forced. I kind of liked it. I was like, oh, Naomi's got the accent. She's kind of like dropping those little accents.
Stuck out though, didn't it? At first,
it did. And then we have Ashford, this new character who was a pirate, but now that the Belt are actually trying to form a state, a nation, if you will.
He's somewhat legitimate.
Yes, they've got uniforms now. Diogo's back, the little shit. And, of course, Naomi and Drummer aren't happy about this. They're ready to throw him out the airlock. But apparently he's been given a pardon by Fred Johnson and Dawes, to Jared Harris's character, whose name I kept forgetting. But he's Dawes. They say Dawes like 5 times in this, and I'm
in that one scene, they just keep saying, Dawes said this, Dawes said that.
No, to be fair, as soon as they said Dawes, I knew who they were talking about. But try to remember
I think this is just hammering it in. It's like, hey, we're not mentioning him a while. He's not been around a while, so just in case you've forgotten.
Yeah, nah. So we got Ashford, who clearly wants to be in command. I mean, of course, Drummer points that out, but he keeps stepping on her toes. He keeps sort of jumping in and finishing her orders and saying, "Oh, that's the captain's orders." But you still jumped in, and Drummer clearly wants to strangle you. Honestly, Drummer strangling him might be really satisfying if and when it's
bound to happen.
It happens, yeah. So we got that going on. There's a documentary crew on the Rassi, because that was the thing. We start with this new character, Manio, who's on his own. He's in like a little racing ship. It's a very makeshift ship as well, because it looks like it's been built like by parts and spares and whatnot.
It really feels like when we got that flashback. I think it was last season of the first guy who created this technology.
No, you're right. Yeah,
it really reminded me of that ship.
Yeah, it had that kind of vibe. But he's on his own, and we get this, the rock music's played, which is very different from the show. That immediately makes it stick out as a different kind of tone. And he's slingshotting around Saturn, or he's Draper, or whatever one. I can't remember what one he did first, but he's been doing it around these planets. And he's sending messages back to his girlfriend. He's got a little hologram, or a little, he's a little heart pendant. It's got like a little video gif on it.
Yeah.
But he gets a message, and she's basically dumped him because he's always away, and she's with his brother now, who's walking about in a thong. And he's very upset by this, and we see he's really depressed. He's also very depressed every time, because he's broadcasting. He's like a webcaster doing his space runs, and he keeps being interrupted by the news because of the ring, which is what the ship from the protomolecule ship from Venus has turned into. More on that in a bit. But he's really pissed about this, and he sees that Holden is going out there, and that's on the news. And I'm like, oh, and Holden's on the news. Is he legitimate now? And more on that later. But
I love the bit where he plays the really sad music. It's the All By Myself, but this equivalent of this world's newer version, but it's played exactly the same as that, like you always get in the movie.
Do you know, I recognised that and thought, oh, that sounds a little bit myself, and I assumed they were just like avoiding the rights issues, but do you think there was a artistic choice with this?
I do, yeah,
Yeah,
because
okay.
it's similar enough that you immediately kind of go to it.
Yeah, that's fair, because I
And
immediately
I
thought of it.
feel like, the show's clearly got a budget. I think if they wanted to get the rights for that, I don't think it would cost them that much. So I think this is them saying, no, this is this time's version of that song.
No, that's fair. He drinks his own piss.
As you do.
Well, as you do, maybe. So he drinks his own piss, and then he has this idea. And you know what he's thinking? I'm going to go out there because we know that the ring's past Uranus. Hold the jokes, please, folks. Hold the jokes.
I know.
Hold the jokes.
We got them all out in the last video. It's fine.
So it's out past Uranus, and he's going to go there, and you're like, okay, you know what he's going to do? He's going to be the first one to go through this ring, and it's probably going to end badly. And we have this, and he has like a solid 6 to 8 minutes of screen time at the start, like all of this set up with him at the start.
Yeah.
But it very neatly set up his motivation, even if it was a little cartoony, but it still worked. It was like, okay, he's kind of this immature guy who's doing this to impress a girl. This is going to go badly. And of course, at the end of the episode, he does get there. The other ship, because obviously there's tons of Earth and Mars ships around, because they're all studying it and trying to figure out what's going on.
Obviously, yeah.
And the Behemoth's on its way there as well. And he's like, no, just hold your panties in a bunch.
Hold your piss, I think was the phrase he used.
Funny coming from him. So he flies straight into it, and it's very clear that this is some kind of portal of some kind to somewhere. But he hits it at this really super fast speed, and the impact of hitting this portal, which is clearly not designed to go in at a quick speed.
It's almost like, if you put your fingers into like a gel.
Yes.
That's the kind of look that it's got to it.
Yes. But he hits it at such a speed, we get this glorious gore effect of his body basically just kind of like the impact of hitting it and going him going forward in his seat against his seatbelt, the front of his body just kind of goes bleh.
Yeah, that was I thought that was most interesting. It was him going forwards, not backwards. It wasn't that it stopped it dead and he went back. It was that no, he flung forwards because of it.
Yeah. And it makes me wonder: is this safe to go through if you go through slowly? Is this just the speed that killed him?
I mean, it's possible. That would stand to reason, but I mean, I imagine even when the ships are going relatively slowly, it's still relative. So they're actually going at quite a speed still. So I wonder how slowly do they have to go for it to be safe?
Yeah, well, they can dictate that as best they can.
Yeah, it's fair.
I was just wondering, because it's not like it destroyed the ship. The ship seemed okay. Everything inside the ship seemed fine.
It was the whiplash of it.
Yeah, the whiplash killed
this
him.
Horrific effect, which was just beautiful to look at.
It was glorious. Yeah, it was glorious. Nice little bit of gore from a day.
Yeah. I'm sure we've mentioned before how much we like the gore, but this is top quality gore.
It's so glorious, because at the start of the episode we see the ring forming. And it's we find out it's called the ring. This is what came from Venus, and it's formed this thing. It's almost like Brainiac-esque, cables kind of going around and making this ring. And it's like, oh shit, this is obviously a door to somewhere. Who's it making a door for? Damn. Because you assume it's for whoever's on the other side rather than our side, right?
I think that's the assumption. Yeah, it's something to come here rather than to go there.
Yes, that's what it feels like. That again, it's called the Expanse, so obviously I expect we will go through it.
Of course, but it feels like the proto-molecule here. It's like the scouting thing, right? I think we mentioned this before. It feels like an advanced scouting thing where you're a little probe.
But as they reminded us in this episode, that was found. It had clearly been there for thousands, if not millions of years. Yeah. This was not something that was sent because Anna's on this other Earth ship that's near the ring, right? Her wife's not very happy about that, by the way. She's very upset. But Vassaralis talked her into it, so I'm cool that we'll get some of Vassaralis, because there's one of Vassaralis in this episode. She's doing a press conference,
promo piece, almost, yeah.
And she's talking about how Gillis has stepped down, so now Vassaralis is the one in charge, seemingly.
It's an interesting position for her.
Yeah, it may make sense from a progression point of view to have her now be the one calling the shots on Earth.
It does. I think what's interesting about it to me is it's like, okay, so who's the antagonist in all of these places? Because she's head of Earth. So we trust her.
I,
Mars, we seemingly have a good relationship with right now.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing coming off the last story is that we're in this place where everyone's kind of resolved things. The Bell, arguably, still obviously the rockiest, and obviously Ashford's kind of an antagonist to Drummer. We'll see how that develops, but
Yeah.
um,
It's a lot more open than whatever we've had within the UN.
yeah. That said, there is a terrorist attack in this episode, or well, we haven't seen it fulfilled yet, but we see that this woman, because we get introduced to this crew from an Earth ship, who are they're basically a maintenance crew. They're fixing parts on a ship, and she's like the new one. The guy's been kind of nice. They're being kind of jokey and kind of like I don't know, a little bit coarse with their interactions. But the old guy's been kind of nice enough and try to be helpful. And then we see that she's planting a bomb, and it's like, okay, so who does she represent?
Yeah, and she seems to be a little bit enhanced, right?
Well,
with her strength.
Not at first. I think the way I read that is that it's basically it's like when someone takes like a pill to kill themselves when they're caught. Except in this case, it was like an enhancement thing because you see her like sort of bite on something.
No, okay, that's true.
And it looked kind of blue. I thought it was protomolecule. I thought she was taking like
too. And
yeah.
Maybe it is.
Maybe it is. But she picks up the guy full body weight and just rams his head into a wall. Also a fun little bit of gore I enjoyed. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. The show's really stepping it up a notch on that.
Yeah, I thought this plot was effective because I mean it's mystery because we don't know who she represents, what this like pill that gave her some super strength for a bit is, because she immediately collapsed after. It's not like she could maintain this.
No, it's a last ditch effort.
This is like you're getting this for like 20-30 seconds to solve the problem and then you're out because she collapses immediately after. But it's effective because it very quickly makes you sympathise with her for being the newbie and then being kind of like we're the old timers talking around her, and then he's nice to her, so you care a little bit about him.
And she is kind of nice, but she's like, oh, I really wish you hadn't looked. She seems genuine. It's like I didn't want to do this.
Yeah.
You could have just left.
He tries to plead, of course. He tries to say, "Oh, we'll make this go away, and I won't tell anyone. Like as long as we don't go through with it, I won't say anything. We'll keep this a secret." Yeah. But she bites her thing, and she rams his head into a wall, and it is glorious. Nice. So I'm curious to see who she represents.
And what their goal is.
Because I'm wondering if it's like, okay, we've got this legitimate belt society now, but is there still factions of the OPA who aren't accepting this and are still playing with dirty rules? That's the first thing I'd think of, but I'm not really sure.
Maybe. I really don't know who it is at this point, and I'm just...
I think what's interesting about this episode, because it does feel like such a fresh start, because we spend so much of the episode catching up on where everyone is now.
Yeah, like you say, it feels like the opening of a season. It's like, okay, you've been away for a bit. Let's re-establish the pieces.
Yeah, because we have to establish where Draper is. Draper's back with the Martian Fleet, but she's still calling Alex, and they have a nice little heart-to-heart.
Yeah, but she's been reinstated as a Marine. She's
been reinstated, but we clearly have that ally to call upon now.
We do, yeah.
We have someone in the Martian Fleet that we can talk to, we can communicate with. Same with Naomi on the Behemoth. Yeah. I said this last week, but it's good to have someone we really care about and know there. And of course we have like the 3 crew members left. Prax is with his daughter back in Ganymede. So we got the 3 crew members left, and we have this documentary. I say crew, it's 2 people. I mean, it's still a crew technically, but still.
If the others can be a crew with 3 people, they can be a crew with 2.
Okay, true. But so you got the camera guy who basically controls these little drone cameras, and then you've got the actual reporter who's asking all the questions. Monica, her name is. Also, first thing here, both of them want to have sex with Amos, so that's the thing.
I think it's understandable, right?
I don't know. Alex has got that hot dad thing going for him. I mean,
you think?
Yeah, maybe the dad bod just appeals to me more than the badass bod. I don't know.
Apparently, yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyway, but I mean, she's almost using it as a weapon to try and get him to open up, because she starts poking into his past, and he's not very pleased with it. And
he was a mob boss.
I took that more as he took the name of a mob boss.
See, I don't know, because she was like, "Oh, but you left the city before that, right?" And so it's almost like him saying that, so it could be, okay, he borrowed the name a little bit, and then someone continued. The original person continued using it after he left.
Yeah, maybe because he mentions that he left at 15, and I took that as, I mean, I could be wrong to assume this, but I took that as true. I took it as true that he left at 15, but he maybe he was like mentored by this mob boss first, and then
See, to me, I thought maybe he didn't leave at 15. I thought that was the official cover story sort of thing where
maybe.
But he actually maybe was the mob boss, because that's what gets him riled up, is when they say you're a mob boss. Although that guy was a mob boss.
It's definitely the most we've delved into his past.
Yeah, I feel like we definitely we got a little hint not so long ago between conversation with him and Prax a couple of weeks ago, I think.
Yeah,
but
bad. Hearing Amos talk about Prax being gone was breaking my heart.
Yeah, he's really into the Prax panels.
Yeah, he calls them Prax panels, and he's like, "Oh, he was my best friend in the world." I'm like, "Oh man,
yeah.
He actually took that to heart."
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Now I'm upset.
Naomi and Holden ain't got nothing on Prax for Amos.
Oh, apparently not. Apparently not. But that broke my heart. And then you had, of course, I thought it was interesting when he turns down Monica, and then the camera guy comes and is like, "Hey, since you turned her down, does that mean there's a chance for me?" And I thought it was interesting that he didn't just say that he was straight, or he didn't say something along those lines. He just said the same phrase. He said, "No, I don't shit where I eat," and walked off. So I've never actually questioned before if Amos is bisexual or whatever, but I mean, he might be.
I think it's funny because up till this point, I just have taken him as asexual. He has never shown any interest in anyone.
That's true. He always refers to getting prostitutes, but yeah, he's never actually shown a romantic interest in anyone.
Yeah.
Because remember, there was a whole thing where Holden thought he might be into Naomi, but that was just like, no, he misunderstood.
He's just reading into things.
Yeah. He misunderstood what the relationship was. Because I think the romantic interest is the more common thing to have, right?
Yeah.
So he assumed, he's got feelings for her, but he didn't. That was kind of...
No, he's always to seem very detached and uninterested in anyone in that manner.
That was very much the start of like kind of discovering who Amos was and was really like. Was that plotline. So no, that's just interesting. So no, and they're asking Holden questions. He keeps fobbing them off, and basically we find out that they're only letting them do this because the documentary, to whoever's hired them to do this, is paying for all the legal bills after all the shit they've been through.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's like, "No, I think you're a narcissist. You did this. You think you're special and you're proud of it." He's like, "I'm not special. I'm just this and that." This could be a very interesting way of getting under a character's skin and kind of getting a...
Because they get close a few times already.
Yeah. So I'm really curious to see, especially Amos, and see where that goes. But Holden, I think, is interesting. Alex's stuff so far has just been really touching. Like, see when he's talking to Draper, I like that they've got like a bond. There's a camaraderie there. But when he brings up his wife's asking for a divorce, and he's actually kind of relieved. Like that was a sweet scene. Like they actually played off each other really nice. And he's like, "Well, it's better to know who you are than be trapped in something that you don't want to be in."
Yeah, and obviously we keep coming back to the legality of them owning the ship. Yeah. And Draper's like, nah, you're pretty good. You deserve to keep it.
Yeah, you earned that seat. Yeah, everything you've done to save everyone, because that was one point. He's like, "Oh, you technically stole us from the Mars." Yeah, but we ended up saving their planet. So
yeah, and one of the arguments is no, it was salvage. It was abandoned, and we claimed it as salvage, which, if true, is fair.
It's kind of true. It's kind of murky because the ship it was attached to was under attack whilst they were taking it. So I don't know if it's technically salvage yet, but it was going to be.
It was going to be, yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, it depends who you ask, right?
It's technicality. I'll side with Draper here and say that they've done enough good with it since that give them a pass.
Yeah, it was Amos who said, "Hey, we saved the whole planet. Come on, does it really matter?" Yeah,
we saved Earth, we saved Mars, saved the Belt, we saved everyone.
I think we can take a tiny little ship. Mars don't miss it.
Yeah, we're fine. So that was good. There's a lot of ship names in this one, actually. Obviously, the Behemoth, I feel it's the big one we're going to really be getting into. Obviously, there's a plot with this drug that's going around, the mechanic who dies. And she's ready to throw the dealer out the airlock, but instead, Ashford steps in and is like, "Hey, no. If you want to start being treated like we are part of equals to Earth and Mars, we can't act like this anymore." Although from
sieges,
and even though he's right, and I buy this coming from like Johnson, Fred Johnson.
Yeah.
Coming from him, even though I've only known him this episode.
Assume the ulterior motive.
Yeah, it feels like he's just trying to undercut her so he can make a move later. That's what it feels like.
It does.
So keep an eye on that. And obviously he's trying to pit Naomi against her. We see that Naomi and Drummer are still very close. They trust each other. Because at one point Naomi's worried about telling her that she kind of had suspicions about this drug thing, and she kind of let it go. And she's like, "Hey, look, you did the best you could. I trust you." Like,
Yeah, she's just like, "Hey, a ship of this size, there's gonna be a black market.
Yeah.
Not a lot we can do about that. We've just got to. You kind of got to turn a blind eye until it interferes with the livelihood and the safety.
And of course, you get the impression this is the first proper warship that the Belt has had. This is them really stepping up. Yeah. So and that's one thing the time jump office does for us. They're at this point where the ship's almost finished. Like they're still putting stuff in, but they've got guns on it. They've got everything else. And they're going to go to the solar system's table, if you will, is at the ring. So they're going there to be a part of it with everyone else. So that works really well. It's really neat. So yeah, a lot of introductory stuff in this one. So we know we're still following Anna. Anna's on an Earth ship. We're following the Behemoth. We're following the Rassi. We've got a Vassarella on Earth. We've got Draper and the Martian ships.
Yeah. So it'll spread out. Do you know what I really like is Johnson's obviously delegated the ship, the Behemoth to Drummer. So right, okay, this is yours. So what's he doing?
He's the Vassarella of the Belt. He's back on Tycho.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Or maybe Ceres, if he's went back there. Tycho's his place, though. I feel like Tycho was his...
Tycho's probably going to be his seat.
Yeah. It's just because Ceres, because that was the first place we were introduced to in the Belt, I kind of
felt like the home of the Belt, right?
Yeah, I think of that as the capital. Just even though, obviously, I mean, Eros is gone, but so yeah, it's interesting. I was really fascinated watching this, and it really felt like the start of a new part, a new era of the show. Because even though we switched from book 1 to book 2 in the middle of last season, I don't think the difference was as big as this.
No, I agree, and there definitely wasn't a big time jump like this, was there?
Yeah, I don't think so. No, because that followed on very that just flowed right into the next thing, and all the crew members were still on the crew on the ship and everything else.
I remember feeling I could tell it was the end of the book.
Yes,
for book 1, because it's a big explosive ending. But then so I know this is the start we're setting up, but it never felt quite as drastic as this.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm digging everything it's doing. Like at this point, it's went beyond just it's about the proto-molecule, and it just feels like a fully fledged sci-fi space opera now. There's all these things going on.
Yeah, I think things are maybe catching up with Holden a little bit as well.
Well, let's talk about that last scene, because that's the one thing we've not talked about.
Yeah.
Miller.
Yeah, been a while.
Out of nowhere. Sitting there. Now, obviously, it plays like a vision, right? It plays like Holden comes out of the shower or whatever, and he sees, Miller sitting there.
I thought most interesting is he doesn't seem surprised. This isn't the first time it's happened.
Oh, yeah, that's very interesting. I hadn't really thought of that, but you might be right.
I mean, I assumed he'd be a bit more shocked if it was, but he kind of just shakes it off, right? Like it's normal almost.
Yeah. And it makes me wonder, because obviously, the obvious thing is, he's having visions, he's being delusional. But because we're dealing with proto-molecule, and because Miller went down with proto-molecule, and given that they're quite close to the ring right now, I feel like there's probably more to this than that.
Projecting a little.
I wonder if the proto-molecule is, communicating with him. And it's
the
Miller part that's inside the proto-molecule is communicating with him.
Yeah, I really don't know. Or like I said, it could be if it's visions. I buy it. It's been 6 months. He's had time to calm down and reflect a little.
Yeah.
Because up till this point, it's kind of been non-stop. It's just been one thing after another. Whereas, if they're dealing with legal trouble now, they've had time to kind of sit down, right?
Yeah, no, you get the feeling that not only have they dropped everyone off where they need to go, this is a legit thing. We're seeing that they're on the news. Reporters are talking about this. Holden and his crew are going to the ring, and they're going to be part of this and all that. Things have really changed. So there's enough time if you want to tell me that he's grown issues. He's grown some problems in that time where the weight of everything he's been through is starting to finally get to him. I could buy that.
It's plausible, yeah.
But sci-fi show proto-molecule.
Don't take anything at face value.
Yeah, I'm expecting more than that. I'm expecting that in some way Miller himself from within the proto-molecules try to contact him.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my most likely option at this point.
Yeah, no, it could be. Or could it be the proto-molecule is using him? In a, the proto-molecule itself is projecting out, and it knows that this is a familiar face.
It's using Miller's face to manipulate him. I don't think it's maybe got them to do anything yet. Maybe this is just the build to the manipulation. Like, okay, so now there's something I want you to do.
Yeah, maybe.
Just to go wacky here. What if, like, it's not so much to manipulate him, but it respects Holden and his crew because of everything that's happened. So they're going to, like, almost invite them through the portal first or something like that. I don't know.
No, I can see that. It's something you see in a lot of these sorts of things of
respect.
The respecter will only deal with you. We'll only sit down and talk with the one that we respect.
I'm thinking of like Predator, where like if you kill a predator, they don't actually kill you for it. They respect you because you're a hunter like them. And it's like, we'll talk to you because you've earned our respect. So I can see that being like,
yeah.
And I'm going wacky here. I'm just going down avenues that it might.
Yeah, we don't know, because there's a whole debate as to whether or not the ring itself and the protomolecule is even alive, as sentient, or if it is just a machine for something else.
I mean, that's the debate. I think the ideological debate between Anna and I didn't catch his name, but this new guy on the Earth ship should be quite interesting. Where she's religious, but she's like, no, I don't, because at one point he cracks a joke. Oh, do you believe you were, flown up here on the wings of angels? He's like, no, like I believe in God, but I'm not stupid enough to not know the difference between technology and faith.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, and he's obviously convinced this is purely technology. But she's like, no, there's evidence to suggest that there's something living here. There's something more than that.
Yeah, it's very interesting because the promolecule, the way it's acted before, has felt alive.
Yeah.
Right, but we don't know if it is just a technological component corrupting biology.
It's Brainiac. I'm sorry to say it.
Sure.
It's Brainiac.
That works.
Brainiac, he failed at Krypton. I've not watched the finale yet, but I'm assuming he fails. I'm not actually assuming he fails. I'm assuming he succeeds, actually, given the plot of that show. But the point I'm making is that he's had his way with Krypton. He's coming to the solar system here to deal with everything else.
Yeah.
Because why not? Why not make some Superman references? It's always worth doing.
Might as well. Yeah, we haven't done it in a while.
That's been great. I mean, obviously last week's was like a fantastic, one of the best episodes of the entire show. I think this was a fantastic episode in setting up all the new stuff. It's never going to live up completely to what last week's was, because that was the culmination of so much.
Well, that's it. The reality is the first episode of a story is never going to be as interesting as the last episode of a story.
But I think at this point, though, we care so much about the world, we care so much about what's going on, the protomolecule, and most importantly, all the characters, that this works really well for us, I think, compared to, say, the pilot of the show, where now we come into all this new stuff caring already. So it's like, okay, where's my crew? Where are they spread out? What's
now
going on?
we can enjoy the downtime and have the character beats. Whereas in the pilot, you're like, come on, hook me. What have you got for me?
And I'm excited to see where this goes. So, and obviously, Amazon are reportedly in close talks to a deal for more seasons of The Expanse. So
I hope everyone is watching this live if possible, or DVR, within the 3 days especially.
And the Save the Expanse, like sort of campaign, if you will. I can't remember the name of the company. It's a company that shoots things into space, but they shot a model of the Rassi into space, and there's a picture of this little Maudie Rassi outside of like Earth's orbit saying save the Expanse on it. So we actually shot a ship into space to save the Expanse.
That's pretty extreme, right?
But Earth's in the background. It's a cool photo. That's what I'm saying. It's nice. Cool. But that is us. So let us know what you thought of this episode. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. Get a list of all of our different audio feeds and shows on YouTube over there. But otherwise, that's us. So thank you once again for watching. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?